I'd like to begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the land on which we stand today. Can you hear me better now? Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners throughout so-called Australia and recognize their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture. I recognize that sovereignty over the land has never been ceded and pay my respect to elders past and present. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. That energy needs to rise up. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. As we approach Invasion Day, I want to bring forward what our First Nations brothers and sisters are calling for, and that is truth-telling. Truth, treaty, voice. This is for the truth-tellers. This is for Wael al-Dahduh's son Hamza al-Dahduh, for Mustafa Thuraya, Haneen Qashtan, Rushdie Sarraj, and the over 100 journalists killed by the genocidal Zionist entity Israel. This is for Bisan, Mu'taz, Hind, Saleh, Maryam, and the countless journalists that speak truth to power. This is for Shireen Abu Akleh. We honor you for speaking out against white supremacist, capitalist, patriarchal entities. We honor you for rising up above the shackles binding so-called journalists from Murdoch media empires. I call on the Australian media present here today to dismantle those shackles that control your profession and become enlightened witnesses that speak truth to power. I urge you to rise above the status quo agendas of white colonialist supremacist media tropes and tell the world and the Australian public the truth. That truth is that a genocide is taking place right before our very eyes and that our government and corporations are paving the way for this mania to continue. In truth-telling, there is power. Representation matters. Stop the manufacturing of consent and see our realities, see our truth, see the beauty and kindness of Palestinian men, see the undeniable steadfastness of Palestinian women, and see the hope of our children, the hope in our children's eyes. Stop failing Palestinians. Stop failing humanity. Stop failing truth. Here is one truth. It's been 100 days of a genocide committed against a native people by so-called Israel. 100 days since a colonialist, bloodthirsty regime has killed over 30,000 Palestinian men, women, and children. It's been 100 days filled with acts of genocide and intent to destroy and eradicate the Palestinian people. But here's this truth. They may try to paint us in the darkest of light. They may try to paint us in the darkest of images, but here is my truth, our truth. We are still standing. Despite decades of death and destruction, we are still standing. Despite the murderous intent, we are still standing, and we sure in hell are not going anywhere. Know this, the Palestinian people are the steadfast people. This is our truth. We are no longer just calling for a ceasefire. A ceasefire is only a stop on the journey to liberation. We are calling for direct action, for a global intifada through resistance, as is the right of oppressed people everywhere. I am calling on you today. Channel that rage, channel that outrage, direct it to grassroots actions through boycotts, through divestments, through sanctions. Know this, Know that as nations like South Africa and Yemen stand tall against Western imperialist powers, that this is another nail in the coffin of the Zionist entity. You standing here week after week after week after week speaks truth to power. And it also continues to weak Zionism. And I know that there's some Zionists in the crowd here hiding. Shame on you. Everything matters. Momentum matters. Boycotts matter. And without liberation and return, there will be no peace. So do not despair. Do not succumb. Plant your feet and stand tall against injustice. Plant your feet and stand tall against Zionism. We are winning. I guarantee you, we are winning. All of you here today, you are on the right side of history. So mark my words, as I stand before you here today, Palestine will be liberated. Palestine will be free. Justice will prevail. And until liberation and return, free, free Palestine! Free.